and happy Easter! Happy Easter to each and every one of you, y'all. I don't know what y'all did. Did y'all get pregnant today? Child, did y'all fertilize some eggs today? What did y'all do today? It is a beautiful and lovely Easter. Okay, Easter Sunday. It is late. I'm literally just getting off of a live from my other channel. So I'm over here and I was like, you know what? Let me see what they got going on for Easter. Did somebody get pregnant? That's all I want to know. Did somebody get pregnant? Okay. So, anywho, there was a topic that I did want to talk about, okay? Over here, hold up, let me see what it is, you guys. I didn't even get a chance to tune into it. I literally just came over here. Okay, let me see. Ooh, it was something that I put up that I wanted to talk to you guys about. We talked about Neo and his four girlfriends, I think. Feeling. Okay, let me see. I think it was about the feeling. Who hides their feelings, okay? The most, hiding your feelings in relationships or hiding your feelings when it comes to dating, you guys. Really learning to be open and honest with yourself and with the significant other. A lot of us, if what you're looking for is financial, security and things of that nature, be honest. I think when you're honest with guys, they can be honest with you. They can be more upfront. Either they got it or they don't. But if you are playing games, then the guy is more than likely going to play games as well. You going to play on his top, he going to play on yours. Okay. And then y'all be back and forth with that, and it's just so not worth it. Especially if you looking into dating like, more mature men. I can't stand a mature man. Okay. A man who's older, meaning he's to me, okay, to some of y'all a mature man could be 35, to some of y'all a mature man could be 45. Okay, to me he's 45 and up. Okay, meaning he don't reach his peak. Okay, like he shouldn't be looking for no job. He shouldn't be looking at life as if what if, and he should be pretty much settled in his foundation and ready to build upon it. He should have created his foundation and should be in a position to where he can now build, okay, or increase that foundation. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't like a mature man who plays games, and I don't care to play games with the mature man at all. And I feel like if you guys learn to be honest, I know, a lot of people say to me that, they've heard things or they've read, how to kind of play games to get what you want. I don't think you should have to play games like that. Just be very direct, okay, about what it is that you want, and he can be very direct about what it is that he wants. And if y'all in agreement, then keep it moving. Move forward together. Do what it is that you have to do. When it comes to being in a relationship, or especially, I already tell y'all, get that top 5 down pat. I don't know why y'all playing with that top 5 like it don't matter. That top 5 does matter. Get it down pat. But when it comes to being in a relationship, I think honesty is key. I think you want to be as honest and as open as you can with this person, because that way you could be very direct with the answers that you get. If you're direct with the questions, you're going to be direct with the answers, okay? When it comes to your feelings, like hiding your feelings and things of that nature, if you start to feel for him, like if you feel like, dang, I feel like this could be bae, then express that and be real with that and be like, you know what, I really feel like this could be bae. I really am starting to, but you don't want to tell him though. I don't think you should open up to him about how you feel. I think you should just keep tabs of how you feel, even if you have to put it in a journal. Keep tabs of how it is that you feel, because if you don't know if you guys are on the same level or, moving towards the same thing, you expressing your feelings can kind of hurt the connection, because he may not be there yet. You may feel like you're in love, but he may not be there yet. And then what happens is once you tell him how you feel and he don't feel the same way, he don't respond back, now you all up in your head about it. Now you feeling some other type of way, So you want to be very protective of how it is that you feel. So if you love him, he'll know that you love him by the things that you do for him, okay? He'll know that you love him by the saying yes if he asks to marry you. He'll know that you love him. We can, as women especially, we tend to pick up on our emotions, okay? Our emotions will tell us a lot about a person. Our emotions or our intuition will tell us a lot about a man. So I think using your intuition is key in a relationship, whether it's something serious or something platonic. It doesn't matter. I think using your intuition is something that is going to help you. Okay, it definitely use discernment. Okay, and know who it is that you're dealing with. So when it comes to men who feel deeply, some men, they feel deeply, but they don't show their emotions. Okay. And it's not that they don't care for you. They just don't know how to show their emotions. They probably grew up in an environment where there was no hugs given. Okay. They probably grew up in an environment where there was never, I love you. Like they probably never heard their mom or their dad say, I love you. So if you're in a connection with somebody who, you feel deeply for them, but maybe they just don't show any type of emotional return. Maybe they're not very affectionate. It doesn't mean that they don't care for you. They just don't know how to love you. So sometimes you have to teach a man how to love you, because what he did with Keita is not going to work for you. Okay, so when it comes to these relationships and these connections, we have to introduce him. We got to let him know what we like and how we like it. I think that is a very healthy conversation in a connection, is letting a man know what you like and how you like it. I think as women, we tend to jump into a relationship and we just take it how they give it to us. You know what I'm saying? No. I like it like that, okay? And you have to be very vocal with that. Let them know what you want in every aspect of your life. Let them know exactly what you want, how you like it. If you don't like certain foods, then don't eat that, okay? You're not going to go in there and cook a whole meal that you don't like, right? So when it comes to expressing themselves, maybe some men feel deeply for you, but they just don't know how to show it or maybe they just show nothing at all. It could come from their environment. It could come from their upbringing. It doesn't mean that they hate you or don't like you. You just have to say, hey, I like when I'm touched like this. I like when a man holds me. I like when a man holds my hand in public. I'm a hand holder. I like to kiss in public. I like to be affectionate in public, right? And when a man knows if he cares for you, he's going to work towards making sure that he gives you what you want, because that's what the men want. They want to make sure that the woman is satisfied. They want to make sure that she's taken care of. They want to make sure that, she gets what it is that she wants. And you in return, right? So if he, doesn't show any emotions, teach him, y'all. They can be taught. I ain't gonna lie. Okay. They can be taught. I've dated men who were like that, but they knew, honey, I'm a in public, hold my hand. Okay. In public, I'm kissing on you, all of that stuff. I'm just that very affectionate type of person. Okay. I'm all in my feelings. Right. And you're not going to ignore this. All right. So let's say if someone is emotionally private, because some men just don't like to go deep. You know what I'm saying? You be like, so, growing up, how was the relationship like with your mama? And he be like, man, I don't even want to talk about that, man. Some people are emotionally private. There is a time to respect that, to say, hey, well, I understand. Maybe we're just getting to know each other. So I respect, your desire to be private. But this is something in the future that I'm going to require to know. I think it's very important for me to know the relationship between my significant other and his parents. Okay. So you may not feel comfortable, today, but in the future, perhaps at another time, we can go deeper into this conversation. Don't just let him get away with saying, oh, I don't want to talk about that. Hello. Now I want to know even more. I'm going to respect, your emotions at this time. But as we get serious, this is something that I'm going to want to know, So if someone is emotionally private, there are ways to respect that, and there are ways to get the information out of them. Like I said, sometimes people are just energetically closed off, and it has nothing to do with you. Okay, some men, their daddies, they couldn't express their emotions. They would get, if they express themselves. Their dad was, be a man. So they've been programmed to kind of keep their emotions private. You can't let nobody know when you're sad. You can't let nobody know when you're, when you're angry or when you're depressed. Like, a man don't do that. A man don't feel this. So, hopefully as you continue to engage with him and be with him a lot longer, he'll be able to emotionally express and talk to you. He'll feel comfortable because he won't feel like you're judging him. The last thing you want to do is ask him his most private and intimate experiences and then bring it up in an argument. That's just disrespectful. Oh, that's why your mama, you don't do nothing like that, because now you're, making it worse. He's not going to want to tell you nothing else. Okay. People who detach like a pro, like they just quit, they cut you off, or they don't call you for a few days and things of that nature, or they just detach. You don't hear from them anymore. Like there are men who are just, they are like relationship, they are just so against relationship. They are so anti-relationship is what I wanted to say. They feel threatened by a commitment because it makes them feel obligated, and some men just do not care to be obligated. It has nothing to do with you. I don't want women to be in their feelings when you are experiencing these things with men because you're taking it personal. A lot of these men are experiencing some type of emotional abuse, okay? So this is the way they're programmed. This is the way that their environment raised them when they were young. And now they're carrying those same type of emotions or ways into their future or into their current status and into their current relationships. So if someone detaches like a pro, it could be that maybe their father left abruptly in their life. Maybe their mother abandoned them. Maybe they grew up in a foster home, so they were not used to getting, connected and having longevity with the family or commitment. It was always short. They were moving from home to home to home. Who knows? Maybe when they were younger, they moved a lot. Maybe every time they got used to a neighborhood, it was moving again, and constantly moving. There could be so many different things as to why a man will not connect, or he detaches really quick and you just don't hear from him. Sometimes these can be men that they will continuously come in and out of your life, and the minute things get serious, they detach like a pro, okay? It's like they're gone, they out of here, like, bye, Felicia, and you like, I don't get it. Like, what is it? What's going on? It's not that there's anything wrong with you. Okay, this is a clear sign that this person has some things that they need to resolve energetically. Please do not take it personal, okay? Overthinks, okay, never speaks. Maybe this is somebody who just don't have a lot of communication. They don't have a lot of conversation for you. They're very short, maybe small, short words or a little sentence here and there, but they don't give you a lot of information. They're always in their head. They kind of, one thing I'm gonna tell you about a man, he's studying you, okay? He knows a lot. He knows about your movement, the way you move, men look at things. We can be in the same room as a man. And if you both leave out of that room and an investigator asks you what you saw and what he saw, it's going to be two totally different things. He's going to see things you like, what? I would have never paid attention to that. Men? Child, they know how to peep the scene. They know how to read the room. Okay? They know how to peep the scene. Yes, they do. They pay attention to details that we don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when it comes to somebody who overthinks, maybe he never speaks. He's very, short when it comes to words. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't able to talk or voice his opinion as a child. You know how it is back in the day when them grown folks say, hey, grown folks talking. Or maybe when his mom would yell at him, he was one of them kids that you couldn't say nothing, but you bet not say nothing. Or that dad was like, yeah, I wish you would, So maybe they were cut off from expressing themselves as a child. They were cut off from speaking, as a child. And like I said, again, don't take it personal, you guys. Take the bitter with the sweet. Okay? Don't take it personal. And just make sure that you understand that a lot of these men that we are dating, okay, that we are involved with, they do have a lot of unresolved trauma sometimes. And we got to make sure that we're not taking on the butt of their unresolved trauma. Don't make it look like it's something wrong with you. You got to know, hey, it must be something wrong with him. He got something going on. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm the, you know what I'm saying? So he must have something going on. All right. Let me see, because a lot of you were messaging me saying things that you experienced with some of your significant others. Shout out to y'all. Okay. He acts strong, but he avoids softness. Now, see, this is something a lot of men, okay? He acts strong, but he doesn't want to, he don't want to, you can't tickle him. Don't ever tickle him, or, he don't want to laugh at jokes. He's always serious. Or he just doesn't have a sense of like a personality or a sense of humor or things of that nature. Like he's just always serious. And again, these are men that, like I said, when they were younger, they had to act a certain way. Like you had to stay in a child's place. Okay. You had to be quiet. Excuse me. You had to stay quiet. You couldn't talk when adults were talking. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. Maybe they grew up in a very strict environment, okay, where they were not able to express themselves. Or, like I said, a lot of these men are men who had father figures, or either their father who, man up, say it with your chest. It was that type of stuff a lot. So those type of men, even though they had a father figure in their life, or their father was actively in their life, they taken on more of that masculine role. Okay, they were probably closer to their dad than they were the mom, or it can vary with them. But these more than likely are men who had. Sometimes it could be older cousins who would tell them, oh, you soft, or you this, or you that, or you know what I'm saying? So they were programmed to believe that they had to always be ready for action. So they always say, if you ready, you ain't got to get ready. So they probably have that type of mentality, always acting strong, avoiding their softness, don't like to be soft. Listen, when you get a man comfortable with you, you can break him into whatever, okay? He will bend and fold as you would. He will be putty, okay, in your fingers, all right, in between your fingers, honey. You can really get a man. Once a man know you are sincere, and once a man becomes comfortable with you, you can get him to crack a smile, to laugh, to tell a joke, to even dance, okay? Trust. I'm talking from experience, all right? Let me see what else you said. Hides his hurt behind his pride. Okay. Whenever you have a man who's very prideful, he likes to boast, he's always talking about what he got, what he did, what he about to do, and things of that nature. It's because, well, a lot of times it can be because, he felt some type of lack. Maybe he feels, a lot of these men I notice tend to want to compete with their dad. Okay, meaning if their dad wasn't around when they have kids, they want to overcompensate as a father because their father wasn't around. A lot of these men are secretly in competition with their father or a father figure. Maybe their dad wasn't around. They don't want to be called the deadbeat dad. So they tend to, try to overcompensate in their kids' life and things of that nature. A lot of time men can come from an environment where maybe the mother was strong, and it's like, damn, like if my mama was able to do this, why I can't do it? You know what I'm saying? So they feel a little not really in a secret competition with their mother. A lot of times people can be in secret competitions with their parents, okay, because they feel like they want to do a better job than what their parent did, right? Even though their parent was actively in their life and things of that nature, we like, hey, I want to do better than what my parents did. So we tend to overcompensate. And we can tend to hide behind our pride because we don't want to make it look like we failed, okay? So whatever they're dealing with, it can be, like I say, daddy issues. It could be family issues. It can be anywhere where in the family you're looked down if you don't have. You know what I'm saying? If you're not doing it, you're looked down upon or you're frowned upon. So this person may tend to overcompensate with things that they do in life and always want to feel prideful. A lot of times it can be that they were not recognized as children. Maybe they did good in school, but guess what? They didn't get any recognition. Their mom never say, oh, good job, little Johnny. Or their daddy when like, yeah, go way to go, Joe. They didn't get any type of recognition at home. You know what I'm saying? So it can be because of things of that. But I tell you again, do not take it personal, okay? Take the bitter with the sweet and just know that with time, you can help him to, put his pride to the side and express himself and feel comfortable expressing himself to you, okay? That is the feminine nurturing role that we stand for. That's the energy that we give. We make them feel comfortable in positions that they once were not comfortable in, okay? What else you say? Jokes through the pain. Somebody who just seems like they can't take nothing serious. They tend to joke a lot. They want to make everything out of a joke, even though, it's not funny. And it's just like, I don't get it. So when we're dealing with a man who jokes through his pain, sometimes having a healthy conversation with him. All right. You got like a lot of comedians who do that. They talk about some very serious situations, but they tend to make a joke out of it. And it's just the way that they express themselves. So this person who jokes through their pain have created an outlet, okay, of expressing themselves that they feel is safe. So maybe they felt ugly growing up, you know what I'm saying? So what they have done was mastered making other people feel ugly through jokes. Oh, you this, you that. Oh, look at your teeth. Oh, look. You know what I'm saying? Like always trying to joke or call out somebody. A lot of times that's a shield, okay, that people use to protect themselves from having to deal with their own hurt. So when you have men who are the type of person that jokes a lot and, just never take anything serious, always laughing through their pain and things of that nature. This is someone who emotionally, that's a sign of emotional instability. This person is just definitely not in a position to where they can deal with some heavy trauma. They probably have some heavy trauma that they need to deal with and or heal, but haven't done so. Okay, so they're learning how to deal with that trauma, or they're learning how to mask that trauma. And you're picking up on it. You're like, dang, I don't get it. Why you think, why was that funny? Why would you even laugh at that? Because that's all they know. You know what I'm saying? That was the way they probably got attention growing up, or that was the way that they were able to express themselves through jokes or things of that nature, without being direct. So don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. Just know that you will have to make time to have a serious conversation, with him. You will have to work with him to get him to feel comfortable opening up to you and being very vulnerable around you. And I always tell you, once you get a man to open up to you and express himself in a way, you cannot be bringing that up in an argument. Okay. You cannot be, oh, that's why you did. So whatever he tell you in the midst of his weakness or his most vulnerable moments, don't bring that back up. That is so not cool. I ain't even gonna lie. That is so not cool. You cannot throw it in his face. That's why he didn't want to open up and say it anyway, but now you're using that as a weapon, which then will shield him even more and put him back into that same thing that you're trying to break him out of. He needs to be able to trust that when he opens himself up around you and he becomes vulnerable, he's safe. Okay. What else you guys said? Bottles up everything and for later. Okay. Bottles up everything for later. Never want to talk about it now. That is something that I dealt with in the past. Somebody who was always like just walk away, or, always want to avoid the confrontation. And never want to directly deal with it. When you have a man who tends to walk away, never want to deal with it, you need to make time. What you want to do is get him in a position to where he can't walk away. Schedule a date night for you guys. That way you're sitting at dinner. He has no choice but to have this conversation. Okay. Otherwise and make sure you drive your car that night. Okay. So he ain't gonna have nowhere to go. Okay. He has no choice but to sit here in the midst of a safe place. We're having a healthy meal and we're going to have a healthy conversation. So when you're home, that's the last place you want to try to have a conversation with somebody who don't want to converse. Okay. You want to make sure that you get him in a place where he has no choice but to listen to the conversation. And that way, when you're in a restaurant, you're not going to be screaming, or you're not going to be da 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 da. You're going to keep it very sexy, very classy, very feminine, very elegant. And he has no choice but to listen to what it is that you have to say. So when you have somebody who run away from y'all conversations or run away from y'all arguments, you're just going to have to put in the work to get him in an environment to where he can't run away. Okay. You don't have your car, right? You ain't got no choice but to sit here and eat unless you're going to Uber. Okay. And it is what it is. So, next one, it says, mask it with talking. Okay. Covering it up with talking. When it comes to their emotions, maybe they just don't want to show their emotions. Okay. Maybe they talk and they will talk all day, every day, but they don't want to cry. A lot of men do that though. That's kind of like a masculine thing. You're not going to get men to cry too much or too often. There are some men who do cry a lot. Okay. But it's not like you're going to get them to express their emotions a lot like that anyway. That's pretty much him being too much in his feminine bag, you guys. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I'm not saying a man who's in his feminine bag is a bad thing, but for him to be too much in his feminine bag, okay, because we got to understand energetically how we're built, how we're made up of. A man is like a brick, okay, and a woman is like water. You see the difference in the two? water is going to move all around. It's going to adjust itself. If you pour water in a cup, it's going to take the shape of the cup. If you pour water inside of a shoe, it's going to take the shape of the shoe. So as women, we can bend and fold and we can connect to things more easily than a brick. If you put a brick in a cup, it's not going to fit inside of that cup. You know, if you put a brick in a shoe, it's not going to change its shape. It's going to stay a brick. It's not going to merge, you know, and shift itself to fit comfortably in its environment. It's kind of stuck and set in that way. That's how men are. Men are kind of like that brick type of energy, to where I don't care what environment you put in, they're going to be solid to who they are. Oh, just me. I ain't changing for nobody. You know, women were like, oh, well, you know, all right, let me, you know what I'm saying? So these are different energies, okay? So when we have someone who mask everything with talking, maybe masking their emotions or their feelings with, you know, just talking about all type of random stuff. Maybe they like to talk or whatever, but this is somebody who probably came from a background where they were able to express themselves, but maybe they just didn't know how to express themselves correctly. Maybe they couldn't tell their mama what it really was. You know what I'm saying? But they was able to say, Ma, I don't feel good, or Ma, I don't like this, or, you know, maybe they were in a growing up in a household where a stepfather came in, but they can't say, I don't like him. You know what I'm saying? The mom is like, well, I like him. That's good enough. You know what I'm saying? So they probably didn't have much power. They don't feel like they had that much power, you know, growing up, and they're carrying that into their adulthood, to where, you know, now they're just covering things up by just talking and not doing anything. Maybe they felt powerless growing up, as if I can't do nothing. I could tell you how I feel, but it ain't nothing I could do about it. Okay. Smiles through heartbreak. That kind of goes with the one we spoke about earlier. Acts tough but cries in secret. Child, that's any man. That's any man. Acts tough and cries in secret. He gonna act tough like he don't care about you. But child, remember that episode of Mario? He was like, Gina. Listen, if they care for you, they will act tough, because a lot of times they're very protective. Okay, you got to understand, a man, his first response, his natural action is to be protective. And just like he has to protect you, he has to protect himself. So if he's getting to know you, he's going to be very protective of his emotions. Okay, he's not going to let you know how much he cares. Right? He's going to say, hey, I care for you. I'm really enjoying our time. I have a great time when I'm out with you. But he's not going to tell you from day one, I love you. He knows from day one, from the time he meets you, if he loves you or not. Okay? He knows if he loves you or not. He's not going to tell you day one, hey, girl, you know I love you. He's not going to tell you that. It's going to take some time for him to be able to get that out. So just be patient. Okay? They act tough and they cry in secret. That's just a part of what they do. Okay, once you get more time with them and you guys get more and more serious, eventually you'll be able to see past, okay, that tough act. Anyway, I don't think he'll ever put that tough act away, but you'll be able to see past the tough act. Okay. Lastly, tries to hide it but fails every time. Why? That's because of you. He can't hide it, because you like, boy, if you don't sit down somewhere and stop playing with yourself. Okay, very much in tune with your intuitive bag, honey. You know, do not let him play any games with you. Do not, just call him out. And that's what I do. I'll call him out. Listen, you really need to deal with whatever that is that you got going on, okay? Because, we need to be able to have healthy conversations. Men can be groomed, okay? Just like they were programmed by their past, they can be programmed by their present. And if you are now their present, you have to be open about what you like, what you don't like, what you want, what you don't want. Closed mouths do not get fed, okay? If you don't tell a man what you like, what you want, what you need, what you expect, then he's not going to naturally give it to you. He's going to give you what he feel you want, you need, and what he feel you expect. That may not be what you actually need, but what So we got to make sure that we open our mouth. We say what it is that we want. We tell him what it is that we want. We can't say, oh, well, I've been knowing him for X amount of time and he hasn't done anything. I don't care if you meet him on Tuesday and your birthday is on Wednesday. On Wednesday, you should have a birthday gift. Okay, he should, hey, I'm gonna cash out you some lunch money. You should have a birthday gift. Okay, I don't care if you just met him yesterday. Hell, I mean, I don't care if you meet him in the same night. What he want to do, take you out to dinner, right? There it is right there. Same night, take you out to dinner. And while you want a dinner date with him, you let him know what it is that you need, what it is that you want, what it is that you expect from this connection. Being truthful, you guys, I cannot tell you any more about how important that is. Being truthful, speaking it, saying what you want, speaking to this person and letting them know exactly what it is that they need or that you need so that they can give it to you. And if they can't give it to you, move them out the way so the person who can give it to you can give it to you. Okay, so get out of your emotions, women, when it comes to dating, seeing all of these energies. When it comes to men, they just be going through some stuff, y'all. You got to give it time. You got to learn how to nurture, okay, the connection, nurture him to make him feel comfortable around you, to make him feel comfortable, you know, opening up to you and things of that nature. And the more you nurture the relationship, the better off, okay, the relationship will become. And remember, another healthy part of the relationship is being open, being honest, being direct. Okay, so shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for everybody who joined me over on Patreon. If you haven't, go to Patreon and join our Love is Love tier. Okay, so you can get more information and more knowledge on love, 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 love. It's your girl Siren, and I will be seeing you guys soon. Peace out, y'all.